Hello, my name is Dr. Matt Horn, and I'm going to be your English teacher for this class. I wanted to do a quick video so that you can hear my voice, see my face, and also so that I can give you some information about some policies that I have as a teacher that aren't necessarily reflected on the prepared modules of the class. So those modules that you see, and basically the class's whole website presence in our LMS, Learning Management System, Canvas, um, that has been prepared by the English department. And all the assignments, all the module designs, the way that the online class looks and operates has been something that the department has designed and done. And I haven't really changed much at all because my job is simply to sort of facilitate your movement through the material. So some policies that I have as a teacher are not necessarily going to be already developed in a document that the department supplies online. So I wanted you to get that as well. All right. The best way to contact me is through my phone. And I've provided my phone number, and I welcome calls and texts. You can call and leave a message. If you call, your number is not going to be in my contacts, so I may not pick up right away. But if you leave me a message, I'll call back probably within a few hours, but at most within a couple of days. However, texting is something that I'm very comfortable with. And if you're comfortable with that as well, you're welcome to text me and just say, hello, Dr. Horn, this is, and give me your name, from Indian River State College or whatnot. And, I've got a question about, and you can get right to it. So when I receive a text like that, very often I can respond within a few minutes and you get your answer and everything keeps on rolling. So don't hesitate to do that if you are comfortable with that. I think that's the very best way to get a quick response from me. If you do need to email me, you're always welcome to use my Indian River email address, which I provided. But I've also provided another address that is my personal address, and it is the MHORN3 at Kent.edu address. And I check that one multiple times a day. That's been my email address since 2005. So I'm still getting in the habit of checking Indian River a couple times a week, but I'm much more connected to the mhorn3 at kent.edu email address. So, all right, let me get into some other things. I do want to go back again to the design of the class as you look at the modules and the introductory information and other things that you need to explore in Canvas. You just basically need to click on the links and see what it's all about, like when it says chats or when it says discussions or assignments or especially grades. You should be able to see your grades as you earn points throughout the class. You should very clearly see where you stand. Okay, so please be sure to explore. There's very little you can actually break, on Canvas. If things get a little haywire, just log out and log back in again, and everything's going to be reset. The heart of the class is in the class modules. So if you get online and you open up the module link, and you can see the modules, you will see that is really where everything happens. All right. And for Indian River English Department has sort of given you a lot of information, to say the least, there in terms of how they're organizing the material. So one thing I want to say right off the bat is don't get confused or sidetracked with all the numbering that goes on and the arrangement and the cataloging numbers that are there. For example, Module 1. There are two types of activities in Module 1, study activities and then the actual assignments that you turn in for grades. And the way that those items are designated is with an M1. M stands for module, and then 1 is module 1, and then an S1 for study item number 1, or an A1, which is assignment number 1. So you have M1, S1, M1, S2, M1, S3, M1, S4, and then when you get down to the assignments, it's M1, A1, M1, A2. I would have done things differently. I think I would have simplified a lot of this and just said, hey, just start at the top and do everything in the module. Just do it, click next, do it, click next. Whether it's study or assignment, it doesn't really matter. I want you to do them all. So I guess what I'm getting at is there is numbering that is really embedded in the course materials, the course design, the modules, that I don't really want to undo because it's just too embedded. But I do think it kind of overcomplicates things a little bit, and I don't want you to get put off by that. Okay, just basically open the module up, do everything in the module, you're good to go to the next module. Okay. Now, for every module, there are 11. Okay, for every module in the class, as you look at the title of the module, which is going to tell you what number it is, module 1, module 2. A module is just a collection of work you need to do that we kind of like put together because there's some sort of logic that these things go together, and then when you finish that, you can move on to the other module. It kind of gives you a sense of progression. So it's just a way of categorizing the work of the course. And for other schools that I teach at, I call them work folders. Okay, here we call them modules. You have 11 of them that you need to do. Start with module 1, go to module 2. You got it. So for every module that you can see at the top where it says module 1, it's going to tell you what it's about, more or less, the general topic that module covers. And then there's going to be a due date on that module, right in the title. And everything in that module is due by that date. Okay? Now, I've made a conscious decision to do it that way. This is something that I can bring to the class. I am not going to assign individual due dates to every single assignment because at that point, it's too much. I think sometimes, we might need to move a little more slowly or a little more quickly. So I'm not going to try to predict when each item, each specific item has to be done. I'll just say, hey, look, it's a really good idea to get this big collection of assignments done by the 17th of January or the 20th of September or whatever. I'll give you a date where everything in that module needs to be done. And I make sure that those modules are evenly spaced so that if you just follow those deadlines, the class is never going to become overwhelming. Okay, the work is kind of spread out evenly over the course of the class, the whole class. So, but the other reason I don't assign specific due dates to every single thing is that sometimes students like to connect their phones to the LMS, to Canvas, and then then if you were to get notifications for everything that's due and all, you would get overwhelmed with my class and 4 other classes, and then you would stop paying attention to the information. So that's something that is a perennial habit that human beings do. We tend to think a lot of information is good, and then when we get too much of it, we just ignore it all. That's why sometimes people have email addresses that they haven't checked in a month because it's just too overwhelming. There are too many emails. So I don't want you to get too many notifications and too many, this. You don't have to always be, getting something from me to let you know that you need to get to work on the class. Okay, just get into the course, open up the module, start working. Okay, and just remember that those due dates are for everything in the module. Okay, now one thing I want to make sure that is clear is that I do accept late work. So if you haven't finished a module by the due date, you can it'll stay open. You can go back and you can do that. Just don't let that pile up because very often that produces just a tremendous amount of work that you have to catch up on. I very rarely grant incompletes, only for a true hospital emergency or something like a sudden death in the family. But The school does not like incompletes. I do not like giving incompletes. I will do everything in my power to not give an incomplete, as long as it's not one of those very extreme situations. So you need to get everything done by the last due date. All right. By the end of the course. But if it comes in a little bit later because life just got busy on you, I completely understand. Just go ahead and just make sure you get it done, send it in. I'll be okay with that. Okay. Now, what about attendance? There is one item you need to do as soon as possible, and that is the student bio on the discussion board. Do that ASAP, because that lets me and the school know that you're actually in the class and that you've opened up the module, which means that I can count you as being present, which means that your federal aid, that you're attending the class, and that very many times states are under an obligation to actually verify attendance, so that there is no student loan fraud happening where someone signs up for loans and then never goes to college. Okay, so you do need to do that as in terms of attendance. But then if you log into the class 2 or 3 times a week and spend about 2 or 3 hours a week in the class, I'm going to consider that perfect attendance. Okay, the minimum is 2 times a week, about 2 hours a week, just online. Okay, now I can tell I don't go policing my students, but if I ever needed to, I can go onto my side of things of the class and I can see when was the last time you logged in and for how long. So I want you to just know that and just pay attention and come to the class regularly throughout the week. I don't think you have to come in every day, like open up the class every day, but you should open it an absolute minimum at least twice. And you need to spend some significant time there. I know sometimes you can open it for 5 minutes, understand what to do, and then maybe close it and do some work offline. I understand that. But many times there are things to read, videos to watch, and if you just watch it there in the class, I can see that you have spent time there, significant time there, and that's really what I want to make sure you do. So now there's a lot here in this class, and my view after 30 years, 28 to 30 years, teaching, writing, publishing, editing, just doing a lot in the field, is that writing is a very special thing for all of us. I prefer to think of it in terms of text creation. And if you like music, if you like movies, if you like YouTube, if you like podcasts, if you like books, if you like graphic novels, if you like writing, I mean, all of those things are different forms of making a text. Okay. And so this is something that is very special to us. Language is incredibly central to our identity. Okay. So you're pretty good at it already. You might not feel like you are, and maybe you've gone through a school system that has constantly kind of like made things a little troublesome because of the grading mechanism, but you're pretty good communicators already. And I'm under no illusion that having you work through 11 modules is going to somehow make you a better writer for the rest of your life. That only comes if you want it and if you work for it. Okay. But I hope that you get some pointers that will help you with your assignments and other classes. And maybe there's a few things that can help you just grow in this class. So I'm not going to be one of those teachers that is like trying to force you to become a better writer, because there could be a lot of drives in you and vision of life and purpose of life and goals of life that don't really align with becoming a better writer right now. So there's no use in trying to force that. I do believe that as you grow and live your life, you'll start realizing that critical thinking and information and articulation and the world of ideas is important, if you don't already believe that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is my job here is to get you involved with the text, reading, writing, watching, and I want you to somehow grow intellectually. Your job is to take your next step, whatever that is. My job is to help you take that step. And I want you to be able to look back after this class and say, that was okay, or that was good. I want you to feel well served. I want you to feel like it wasn't as bad as you might have thought. And And I want you to kind of down the line, especially look back and say, I had a really good experience at Indian River College. So my job is to think holistically and say this is a person that's on a journey, and 5 years or 10 years later, they're going to look back at where they've been through, and they need to have some good experiences and good memories of that. So that's really my heartbeat there. If you do the assignments, if you turn in the material, you're going to pass the class with an A or a B. Okay, so just make sure you get the work done. I really am of the persuasion that if you just get in there and practice, if you just do it, you're going to get better. And I don't necessarily have to come with all the sort of advice as to how to fix things and how to do this and do that. You just, especially if you pick the right materials, just your involvement with the text and the materials is going to do something for you. And I don't want to undercut that by getting a little overboard in, say, the revisions I might ask you to do or my comments. I'm much more of a fellow pilgrim with you or fellow journeyman than I am someone that is taking authoritative stance somewhere and saying, now this is how you ought to do it. So, please understand that I know intellectual growth happens at very many different times in life and in very many different ways. And I'm of the opinion that you really can't rush it. You just have to keep on plowing through it. So when it comes to classes like this, if you just do the work, turn it in, you're gonna be all right. I'm never gonna hold you back for some weird reason because I didn't think that you grew enough or you didn't somehow meet some ultra high expectation that I have. Okay, so I want you to relax. I want you to explore a little bit, experiment, and just know that if you're doing the modules, you're doing the work, you're submitting assignments, you're going to pass the class. Okay, so who are the people that I actually end up failing? Probably without exception, is the people that just don't submit their work. They might submit work for the first 2 or 3 modules, but then I don't hear a single word from them, texting, email, nothing. They turn into ghosts, and they never submit enough work for me to even remotely pass them. I mean, if the class is sitting at, I don't know, 1,500 points and someone submits only 200 points, there's no way I can pass them. So, those are the people that, don't make it, is they just turn into ghosts. So please don't do that. I feel like if you just put the work in and just stay with it, you're going to do fine. Now, I have a lot of students. I'm an adjunct professor, so although I have a lot of qualifications, the PhD, a lot of publishing, a lot of editing work, a lot of working at different schools, I'm not full-time at Indian River. I'm just a per contract professor. And I work at 4 other colleges, so with this one it's 5. And I have a lot of students to deal with and a lot of work to manage. So I tend to not do a lot of in-depth grading the first time I read an assignment. I'll give it a score, and then I'll let you see just basically what the score is. If you're okay with that, you don't have to revise it. We can move on. Okay? But if you don't like the score, then I want you to text me or email me or call me, whatever, and just say, hey, Dr. Horn, I'd like to know how I can make a better grade on this. Can you give me some pointers? And it's at that time that I'm going to give you a lot of feedback, because I don't want to give feedback to every student, because half of my students, at least half, don't really want that feedback. They just kind of want to do the assignment and get going, okay? So I don't want to waste my time giving information to someone who's not ready or doesn't want to receive it for whatever reason. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying I need to know that you want the feedback before I'm going to give it. So when I look at essays, very often I just score them first. In other words, you're just going to get the grade. And then if you want to get higher on it, then you need to contact me. Just send me a text. I'm a really nice guy. I'm not gonna be difficult to work with. And I'll tell you, hey, this is what I thought. And if you can fix it and resubmit it, then I'll regrade it, and you can take it up to an A. I don't balance stuff out. I'll just regrade it, and the new grade is your grade. So what I want you to do is I want you to realize that I'm under a lot of pressure myself to maintain all these different jobs that I have to do to make a living. And I can't just spend 30 minutes on each essay trying to, pick it apart and, let you know all the things I think you need to fix, But I will be happy to talk to you about your writing if after you get a score back, you're like, well, I'd like some more information on this. I'm just waiting for you to identify yourself, and then we can work together. Okay? All right. So as far as artificial intelligence goes and Google, and I don't mind if you use it to get ideas and to do a little bit of preliminary research. Any sort of like essay writing that you actually have to turn in for me, I want you to type it in and take ownership of it. But the fact of the matter is, AI is becoming more and more a part of our fabric as a culture, and it's becoming a part of a job expectation. You need to know how to use AI when you go to get a job. It's not going away. So in colleges, we're slow to adapt because we just are. There's a lot of reasons that we're kind of lagging behind the new way of doing things, like the new way of reading, the new way of writing, the new way of doing work. So just know that for some of these assignments, I have to send it through a Turnitin, a mechanism or an AI detector mechanism. And if it comes back with like 80% AI or 70% AI or something like that, I'm going to ask you to redo it because I have to, like the department says I have to. So I want you to work with me there, okay? But as far as like, well, can I use AI as a thinking tool to help me learn, to help me, there might be something in a module about tone or about analysis or about, I don't know, I mean, close reading, and whatever is there might not do it for you. You might be like, well, I don't really understand it. I mean, I watched the video, I still don't get it. Well, then go ask whichever AI you use about it and learn from there. The point is, you got to be an active learner. And if something in the module isn't clear, then go ask AI and see if you can get a couple of videos from YouTube and figure out what in the role tone is, or connotation, or a thesis, whatever. So it's just that when you actually are doing the work, right? When you're actually like doing the assignment and turning it in, just type it up, make sure it's you, and that'll be good stuff. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and talk to me. I will be doing videos throughout the course that I will put in a separate folder that will be my thoughts on certain assignments. I'm not going to put them in the modules because the modules are kind of packed already. So there's going to be sort of a separate module that just says Horns videos or something like that. And you're welcome to go in there and click on it if you want some extra information about an assignment. Or now, this is my first time in the class, and it's going to take a while for me to develop these, but I do want to do that. I want to give you as much help as possible to just get through this course. Okay. Just remember, to me, writing is like juggling. Okay. Or it's like tightrope walking. It's like any sort of skilled activity. You have to have a space where you can pick up those balls, juggling, and just try to juggle. And as you really try to master it, you're going to have to realize the balls are going to drop a lot. Okay. Let's just say you've never juggled before. You're going to be dropping a lot of balls. Let's say you're a pretty good juggler with 3 balls. Well, can you do 4? So when you add another ball, you're going to be dropping stuff as you try to find the rhythm and all of that. So I need to create a space where you feel like you can experiment and grow without being penalized every time a ball drops. So don't be afraid of writing or of how I'm going to grade your stuff and all of that. Just try to say, this is for me. I want to try to figure some of this out. I want to grow a little bit. I might make mistakes. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to get my A or B. And if I end up getting a B or a C and I realize I'm headed that way, Horn will come up with some extra credit essays or something for me. I will. Okay, just contact me early. And I'll still get the grade I need, okay? Because for me, it's like, look, just get involved with the material. Just give yourself a chance. And stop worrying so much about a writing teacher that's just going to rip apart your writing. I'm not going to do that. So I really want you to just relax, open your mind, and grow a little bit this semester. All right. Thank you for watching.